We're going to go ahead and go over a couple house cleaning items here before we get started. Again, my name is Mike Garcia. I am the marketing manager here at iMatrix. We will be recording this webinar, so for any reason if you have to leave a little early, or if you know any colleagues that are going to be stepping in a little later, we will have this recorded. We will have it sent out to everyone that did register, as well as who attended. So feel free, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them out throughout the webinar. You don't have to wait till the end. We will have a webinar, or sorry, a question and answer module towards the end to make sure to answer everyone's questions. And then we're going to go ahead and, as we go through it, if you do have that question, feel free to type it out, and I'll make sure to go through the questions in the order that they were received. So again, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on do this, not that, creating compelling content. Again, I mentioned I am the marketing manager here. My name is Mike Garcia, and we're going to go ahead and go over a couple of these items here, the do's and don'ts of building content strategy and how to adapt your content strategy to remain both effective and competitive online. Basically, learn what to do and not to do with your website copy design and videos, and to maximize your online visibility, as well as eventually attract more new clients. So first and foremost, of course, content is king. First off, what really is content? Content's the words on the page. Obviously, everyone sees it as layman's terms as that. Multimedia, site design, buttons, links, social media posts, etc. And why is it king? Well, it's king because content's really what gives your website that substance. The meat and potatoes, it's really kind of what tells Google and its search engines what people are searching for, if it's relevant to what they're searching for. For instance, if I had a pizza shop, I was creating a website and I had a lot of people that, or I had people that were searching for pizza, but on my website all I had was things talking about pasta or cookies or whatever it may be. Obviously, it's not going to pull that up because the content doesn't relate to that. Doesn't matter what the pictures look like, doesn't matter if the website URL is pizza.com, doesn't matter what it is. If the content, the information that it's explaining isn't relevant to what people are actually searching for, then it's not going to pull that website up. So content creation is really ranked as a single, probably most effective SEO tactic by 53% of respondents. If you really want to rank highly on the search engine results page, clear, concise, and compelling content is really the best way to go. A lot of people aren't too sure, okay, well, what do I do? If I have a lot of services that I want to offer, that I want to really get out there, that I want people to know about, how do I get that out there? Well, again, you segment your content. You basically make sure you put through a roadmap and explain kind of a way, like a sitemap, I guess you can say, a way for people to get to that content information, making sure that they are relevant to the pages that they're linked to. Again, if you have one piece of content, let's say you have one page explaining one service, but there's multiple different segments of that service that someone can kind of go down a different road with each different segment, then you'll create 3 different segment pages below that. So that way it's something where it all makes sense. It's kind of like chapters of a book. You're going to talk about one specific topic in a chapter, and you're going to definitely talk about all the different segments within that chapter, as opposed to having it spread across everywhere and just kind of making it like a needle in a haystack for people to try to find. Another thing you want to really kind of do is you want to consider your audience. Now, when you're creating content, you want to really ask yourself, is this page or the image or the button or anything like that, is the link itself or any of that, is the page itself helping people get a clear understanding? Is what I'm offering really concise, compelling information that moves people toward the end goal of becoming a patient? Are you really offering enough topic-specific information on a complex idea? A lot of times it's kind of hard to explain something in words through content as opposed to maybe, let's say, in person. Images really help out with that. Having kind of some way of giving a visual kind of explanation along with your actual content, it does help out a lot. A lot of people tend to be visual learners. So I do recommend having something in that aspect when you explain things, maybe even having multiple images. They don't have to be big, full images, but just something that kind of makes people understand kind of what you're explaining. If it's really hard to put it down in words, then it's easier to just do it through an image. Using both definitely is a good way to go. And of course, your content strategy really should focus around what the users are looking for first and foremost. You want to make it easy to understand. They want to have it easily digestible. I always mention having things in easily digestible, edible pieces. You don't want to have it to where it's too much info because, again, a lot of people, you have to understand, in a world, in the perfect setting, we would wish and hope that everyone that's searching for us online is sitting at home, nice cup of coffee, right next to the window, awesome breeze, wonderful day, they have all the time in the world, big, huge screen, they're just on their desktop or laptop searching away on your website. That's not necessarily how it is, as most users are actually on the go. Most users are using their mobile phones or their tablets or any kind of mobile device in general, and they kind of want to just get that quick information right out the gate. You want to have the capability of having the content go in depth if they need to, but you want to make it so it's clear and concise so that they know maybe within the first paragraph of that page or maybe within the first few sentences that that's what they actually are looking for. Maybe it's even the title of the page or the headline, the H1 tag or whatnot in the actual page itself that kind of explains real quick, okay, this is what you're going to do, or this is what we have to offer. That's actually something that you need to consider as well, because not everyone's going to sit there on a desktop or on a laptop and easily just sit there and read all the content that you would like them to. They need to have it to where they have an option to either do one or the other. Of course, implementation, big key thing. Rule of thumb, really, your content strategy should include frequent content updates. But how often is frequent? It's really left to interpretation. A couple of short, simple guidelines really is I'd probably say updates of at least 250 to 500 words weekly. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not as much if you think about it. And longer, more research analysis of over 500 words monthly, I'd probably say. Now, when you're actually going through and implementing different content, a good way of doing it is actually blogs. If you're actually looking to update certain content, and let's say on your website, you have all the pages you need, you have all the services that you need, you don't really have anything else to add. Well, how do I update the content? How do I get more refresh factor in there so that Google can see that we're not stagnant and that the website actually is still thriving, the business is still thriving? How do we do that? Blogs are great. Blogs are pieces of content that you can have between 250 to 500 words. And easily, there's multiple ways that you can actually implement that and push it out. You can push it out to social media. You can push it out through anything from Twitter to Facebook, even on YouTube. If you have specific videos that go along with it, put it on YouTube. You can have a description in the description box of exactly what it is. Then you can take that video link, put it on a page or on a blog, for instance, and then have the content there with the video link so that they can watch the video. One, it gets that page a lot more on-time viewing, so it also helps, slowly increase your ranking that way by having more page views, longer page views. And on top of that, it also has the ability to be pulled up in the search results pages, not only by the content itself, but by the video. So there's ways that you can actually hit a lot of birds with one or two stones here and there when it comes to SEO, when it comes to content. And it's just a matter of making sure that you do it the best way possible. So that way you're not working harder, you're just working smarter. So as far as, the blogs go, what's the best way to do a blog? Well, adding new content to your blog is a great way to really get, like I mentioned, that new content shared across multiple social media platforms. Businesses with blogs receive about 97 or so, I believe it's 97% more leads than businesses without blogs. Again, blogs, even though we don't have a lot of those old, I guess you can call them old school now, blogging sites. That was really kind of the big craze. There was nothing but blog sites everywhere. Now those have kind of turned into vlogging for video blogs on YouTube. But blogging in general for a website is still very good. And again, if you want to do something that has maybe a topic based on a service that you have that you offer, or maybe a new trend, or for veterinarians, maybe like there's a pet food, like a recall, maybe anything in general that you can think of, even if it doesn't necessarily pertain to your practice, the fact that you are giving out that information, that you are kind of the source of that information, the expert in that field for that information, they're going to actually see that as having more clout for you. They're going to see that as having you be more of a knowledgeable professional recognition. And so they're going to see that and they're going to realize, okay, these guys know what they're talking about. This isn't just kind of a copy and paste type of website. So again, it's super easy. It's really, if you think about it, it's really just kind of rehashing the stuff that you already have. You already have pages of content on your website talking about services. It's just something that you can easily just re-implement, and you can have to where maybe you tweak a little bit of the words here and there. Now, before I get too sticky into this, when I mentioned the fact that you have content on your website with different topics and services already laid out that you can rehash, keyword is rehash. Keyword is basically repurposed. It doesn't necessarily mean copy and paste it, because again, that will be duplicate content. You want to make sure that you at least take it to where, I believe it's somewhere 30%, 33% or so, you have to change it to where it's not considered duplicate. I know that's very hard. You're not going to sit here and do the napkin math, but it's one of those things where easily just kind of take that topic, kind of look at some of the key points that are mentioned in that content page, and then maybe kind of go over it. Maybe some things that really people like to see in blogs or short articles, I guess you can say, would be the top 5 or top 10 tips or 3 ways that you can, something that has a number to it. That always kind of gives them a quick, easily accessible or easily editable idea, the fact that, oh, this isn't going to be long, it's just 3. Or, oh, it's easy, it's 5 tips. Or, oh, these are, do's and don'ts. I mean, for instance, the title of our webinar, do's and don'ts. It's something where it just allows you to understand, okay, this is going to be a lot of information packed in a short little small package. It's an edible chunk, okay? So think of that same thing when it comes to content on your website, and it actually becomes a lot easier than you think sometimes. So now don't, of course, do not take the easy route. Now, content really includes more than just simple text. Include videos, images, bullet points, long-form content, links, other features really to break up the text. Keep your online visitors interested. It's something that, again, like I mentioned, you don't want to do a simple copy-paste. Throwing an image in there to kind of have a visual explanation of the whole thing. Throwing a video, maybe if you have a video already in place, if it's your video, keep in mind, be very careful. I see this a lot sometimes. People will take other people's videos on YouTube. They might be searching YouTube. They see a video they like. Oh, I really like this. And then they go and they post it on their website. Not necessarily a good thing. One, because it's not your video. Not that there's a problem with that, but you're giving credit to the person that made that video. Especially if you aren't really researching it, you find out that's actually another chiropractor or another veterinarian or an optometrist or whoever it may be in the same area or maybe a different area altogether. It's literally just, it's not yours, and it's not that you can't do that yourself. It's just you're literally giving search engine juice, I guess you could say, to that other person. Not only that, that might entice that person to then go off your page and onto that other person's page to find more videos the same way. So be careful when it comes to videos. Make sure that you're at least either using your own videos or videos that aren't necessarily a competitor in your industry. If it's from like an association or if it's from a credible source, that's definitely perfectly fine. Even though the juices will kind of, like I mentioned, still flow in their direction, it's still good. It's just, again, you don't want to be giving that to your competitors. Pictures, of course, always help. Visual aspect, it helps people understand things that you're explaining. You as a doctor, you as a practice manager, in general, you guys have this this vernacular. You guys have all of this information that you guys understand that you use on the daily basis. Whereas the simple consumer, they might not understand exactly kind of what you're talking about or the verbiage that you're really using. So it's something that you want to make sure that either visually or even in the way that you explain things in the content, it's easily accessible. It's in layman's terms to a point where it's not too dumbed down, but at least it's something where the reader won't get lost. Another thing you don't want to do is obviously be blinded by Google. Now, Google is the largest search engine, and what it says when it comes to optimization kind of reigns supreme. Google is king, unfortunately, and fortunately at the same time. Google owns YouTube. Keep that in mind. So if you do have anything on YouTube, again, YouTube's always a plus. Don't ever have questions of, do I post this or should I have YouTube? Always yes, yes, yes. But remember, Google's algorithms are really based on what is best for the web user itself. That's really what all algorithms are for. The relevancy, making sure that it's the easiest, quickest way and most relevant information for that user. If you take Google's algorithm updates at face value, you're really missing the entire point. And that's considerations for rankings are made so really kind of to make a better match for websites for what people are looking for. It's very difficult. No one really knows what their algorithms are. They possibly change their algorithms, I mean, at least maybe 400, 500 times a year. And I know that sounds extremely crazy of an amount, but it's true. I mean, even if they make a slight tweak, they might do 5 a day, who knows. They have to constantly be ahead of the curve because it's the internet. It's a crazy jungle out there, and there's tons of people trying to figure ways to cheat the system, trying to find ways to get around things, black hat tactics, those kind of things, different things that they can do to try to cheat the system to get to the very top of Google. And Google has to kind of always constantly stay on top of that. It's just like an antivirus program or whatnot. There's always hackers creating new viruses, and that program always has to keep up to date. It's just one of those things where Google's going to constantly, continually update their algorithm. Sometimes they do push big algorithm updates, but again, don't be completely blinded by them. And just remember that it's really for relevancy, not necessarily for, it's not like a popularity contest. So make sure that your stuff is easily accessible, edible, and enough information to where it's relevant for Google to actually pick it up. And another thing, of course, would be to ignore social media. Don't ignore social media. That's a big thing. If you're overlooking your social media platforms when you're creating a content strategy, you could possibly be harming your business's potential, really, if you think about it. Prospective clients already know you rarely post, new content or really rarely reply. They'll be less likely to engage with your business on the social media level, which, again, decreases your social media traffic. And then again, if you have anything that you do post that links back to your website, decreases the site traffic to your main website. So just to kind of give everyone a quick idea of really, how it works. When you have social media, obviously it's basically out there for everyone. It's free. Facebook has about, a billion, probably more by now. I'm sure that number has been old for a while, but over a billion active users. And of course, Twitter's got, a ton as well. Google Plus, I don't have that number on the top of my head, but it's growing as well. And it's just one of those things where it's a lot of prospective clients, a lot of prospective patients out there. Now, the way Facebook works, of course, is if I'm a business and I post something, let's say I have about 100 people that follow my business. They like my business, they're fans of it, whatnot. I post some content, they like it or they share it or they comment on it, whether it's a meme, it's any other kind of image, an article, whatever it may be, then everyone that's on their list, if they have 1,000 people on their list, they have the opportunity to actually see that because they interacted with mine. Even though I have no connection to those 1,000, I have a connection to that one, which then is a friend of a friend kind of thing is what Facebook calls it. So keep in mind, there's a lot of potential with social media. When people respond to you on social media, when they leave reviews, when they have questions and comments, they kind of expect to get an answer back. Do not ignore social media at all. Social media is really kind of another directory. It's another review site if you think about it. People leave reviews on social media all the time. People ask questions all the time because they almost feel like social media profile is a direct connection to that company. If I had a problem with some kind of computer hardware, if I had a problem with something in particular, I can't think of off the top of my head, but like they had a business page on Facebook, which really almost all businesses do, then basically I'm going to go to that Facebook page and I'm going to ask questions and then comment or whatnot, and hopefully expect someone to respond, whether it's the owner, whether it's someone from their support team, whatever it may be, some kind of staff member. That way I feel like my opinion and my question and my concern is being heard. When you don't, they're less likely to follow you and you're less likely to get any kind of traffic. So don't ignore these signs, don't ignore these signals. Make sure that you at least are having any kind of messaging from your social media profile. If you aren't on social media all the time, at least have it pushed to an email address that would notify you if someone leaves a response or leaves a question or comment or sends you a message. It's very important, just the same way as on Yelp or on any other review site, that you respond to these in a timely manner. So that way they don't feel like they're being ignored. That's the worst thing you can do, is leave a client or even a prospective client ignored, because they will go somewhere else for someone who will answer them. So just keep that part in mind. You do want to use video to boost website traffic. Now, of course, video is valuable content. Video is, if a picture is 1,000 words, a video is 1,000,000 words. I mean, everyone loves videos online. It's really, I use YouTube a lot. Again, YouTube is the second largest search engine out there compared to Google. Again, Google owns YouTube, so they're kind of dominating the market when it comes to that. But again, it's something that a lot of people will rather see a video clip than read a long article. Now, there's some people that do like to read as opposed to watch a video. That's perfectly fine. But just keep in mind of the audience that's out there. A lot of people actually want to watch videos, not long videos, but just short snippet videos, short clip videos. Definitely helps out. So, of course, the last two slides that we went over, it detailed how your content strategy should include video, among other things, and video is valuable and stuff like that. But it's really valuable because it really significantly drives that traffic to your website. There are some studies out there that have shown that results with video have about a 40%, 41% higher click-through rate than the plain text results. Again, so when someone sees a video, they're more inclined to want to click on it. And then about 60% of viewers or so will watch video before reading any text at all. So there's a lot of studies out there that are showing this. So again, it's one of those times where you have to kind of just jump on the bandwagon if you don't have video, and add video to your content strategy, because content itself, again, is more than just text. it's images, it's video, it's all that. And it's in general what people are looking for when they're searching for something on your website or searching for a site like yours online. One thing you really want to make sure you do is commit to building a video library itself. The worst thing you can do is going in without any kind of plan at all. Maybe commit to having some kind of set library in motion. The benefits of video are really amplified with each video added to your collection, so frequently updating your collection by adding new video is kind of a best practice as well. And while the frequency by when you create new videos will not really be on par with the frequency of other content updates like your blogs, which again, blog I could probably recommend you can do once a week, you could do once a month. It's one of those things where you don't have to do it once a day, but at least kind of keep it at least, I always say at least once a month for any kind of content updates. If you can try to do it more frequently, more power to you. But again, try not to have it go further than a couple months without any content. That's a long, long time if you think about it. Really, I mean, it's one of those things where it's weeks at that point and days and days at that point where if you don't update anything for a couple months, 3 months, your website just seems like a ghost town. And a lot of people aren't going to really understand, okay, well, what's going on here? If they follow you, if they really like the content you're producing, you kind of have to keep up with it. Now, if you feel like you started off very early and created a lot and you just can't keep up with it at that point, that's fine. It's just a matter of kind of dwindling it down to where it's something a little more easy for you to kind of continue producing. Another thing is, of course, you want to stand out from your competitors. So one thing you want to really make sure that you do is look at your website, kind of see, what's the difference between your website and your competitor's website. And one thing you can notice is that, well, we offer the same services. We have the same size practice. What is there different between me and my competitor? I think everyone can kind of say what is different between their competitor and themselves. Obviously, everyone says, well, our service is a lot better. Our customer service is great. Our prices are cheaper, whatever it may be. I mean, if that's something that you think you stand out from your competitor, let it shine. Show on your website. Make sure that that's known out there. If you guys have been awarded, Best Doctor of 2016 or whatnot, make that known. Let people know that. There's a lot of times, a lot of restaurants will promote that. A lot of other businesses will promote that. BBB, whatever it may be, Angie's List, they'll promote all this stuff because if a lot of people, say that this is a great practice or that this is a great business, you need to make sure that everyone knows that might not know that. So show kind of what you can do to stand out from your competitors. If it's a new service technique, if it's a machine that you have that no one else has, just think of the different things that you have and then maybe build on that. Now, as far as maybe video action, what you can do for videos on that, again, there's a lot of frequently asked questions that happen your way. A lot of your front desk might get a lot of these questions through people in the office or on the phone. Maybe jot those down, see what people are asking most of the time, and then maybe create a video, maybe like a series, creating different videos based on those questions and kind of like an FAQ series or whatnot. If you have specific machines or whatnot, you can do kind of like a little tour of how the machine works. New service that's come through, come to your business or whatnot that you guys are starting up. Do a little teeny quick snippet of that. I mean, it can be a 1-minute video, it can be a 5-minute video. Just make sure it's not too long. I'd say nothing past 5 minutes, but create something to where you can actually promote and show, and that way you can have it on YouTube, you can put it on your website, you can post it on Facebook, Twitter, those kind of things, and that way it just starts spreading, and then you get all that traffic, and you start getting all this relevant search results for your business, and it slowly starts to increase your search ranking that way. So again, it's really simple if you think about it. It's really, like I mentioned, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It's one of those things where, you could easily just lay out a plan, start creating a couple quick videos. It's not a lot of long, time-draining videos, 10-minute videos, 20-minute videos. No, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it may be. Something quick, and then you can just create multiple pieces of content. And then when you step out and you look at it, wow, I have 10 videos right there. That was quick. That's easy. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to committing to a video library. And then, of course, using what you have that stands out from the competitors to help build that video library. So, of course, the don'ts. You want to make sure to not really expect big results from poor quality. Now, from that, poor quality, of course, that means, let's say you have a really old phone that has an old camera on it. Probably recommend not using one of those. I mean, I'm not really at liberty to say if you're using your phone, what model you should be using and what brand or whatnot. But I would probably say if you have a phone within the last few years, my phone, for instance, is probably at least a good 5 years old, I'd say, maybe 4 years old, or whatever it may be, and it's got a great camera on it still. It's just a regular Samsung phone. Camera phones nowadays, I mean, they all produce HD video. It doesn't have to be ultra super megapixel video, but you know what? It doesn't need to be something that's very choppy, I guess you could say. You don't need a lot of expensive equipment. You just need to make sure that you're in good lighting. You need to make sure that you have decent video quality, and then of course for audio, just make sure you either speak up, or if you have some kind of mic or a headset or something like that that you can connect to it, that actually always helps as well. But again, you can't expect good good results from poor quality. That kind of rings true with everything. I mean, if you're a business and you have very kind of poor quality service, or your customer service isn't that great, you can't really expect everyone to start flocking to your doors, hearing about that. It goes really kind of true for everything. So make sure that you are looking at the quality of it itself, and just kind of determine what you think is good enough for your business, because it's one of those things where, to me, carte blanche. If I had all the money in the world, I'd have this great, I'd have Martin Scorsese, producing my office video. Obviously, that's not the case. But again, if you just have a regular phone, just make sure things look tidied up and cleaned up. There's good lighting, good audio, that kind of thing. And just kind of, if you want, you can have some peers, maybe family members, friends review it, just kind of see what they think, and see, go from there and see what they think. But again, don't expect those big results from poor quality if you have it. If there's a lot of background noise, that kind of thing, just make sure and test it out. And then when you post it up, make sure it looks good, and good enough so that you think that you're going to start getting some great traffic from it. Again, don't rely on unoriginal content. Embedding, I mentioned this before, it's actually hitting right on the nail. Embedding someone else's video onto your website has a time and place, but it's not going to offer the same SEO or page conversion benefits as, let's say, an original video that you create. Like I mentioned, again, if you have no idea on what kind of videos to create, I'm just going to kind of go down the line, and I'll just go through some of the industries that we service here at iMatrix. For instance, starting off with like optometrists, ophthalmologists, that kind of sort. Let's say, for instance, you want to give a video tour of your business, right? Let's say you want to talk about different frames, different techniques, different ways to clean your contact lenses. There's all these different things that people have questions about that you can do quick snippet videos on, and you can post them online, and it'll be you doing it or your practice doing it, and they can actually, and then at the end say, hey, come on down, we'll show you in person, and then that gets them in your office, and that's already past the hardest step, is getting them in your office. Veterinarians, okay, I mean, I can go down the line. How to clean your cat's ears, right? How to trim your pet's nails, how to brush your dog's teeth. I mean, there's so many things that people have questions for, on how to do it right, how not to do it right, or what not to do, and those are easily pieces of content that you could create yourself in your practice. Chiropractors, easy, probably the easiest as far as videos go, just because of the fact that unless you're going to be doing stretches and yoga poses with your dog, which I've seen videos, these ones are a little easier because you can do them in very, very quick snippets. Stretches, for instance, you can do a whole multitude of stretches that easily could be even 30-second long videos, maybe a minute video. Other things from, like I said, yoga poses, posture, how to sit correctly at work, what's the best way to stretch while you're sitting in your chair at your desk. There's so many different things, and whether it's chiropractic, optometry, vision care in general, or veterinary care, everything, I mean, if you think about it, within your office, people that come in are giving you ideas all the time. So you should never have to rely on unoriginal content. You should always have some type of content that, even though it's the same type of content that someone else might have, if you do it yourself in your office, it is original content then. So that's why you want to make sure that get all those different juices flowing SEO-wise to your website and to your videos themselves. And of course, last here is unbalanced content mix. Just because we love video doesn't mean that you should go overboard. Video that augments the written content and provides clearer information is wonderful. A website page that has multiple videos in a long list or nothing but a video with no accompanying text or whatnot isn't really that wonderful. So remember, like I said, if you have a content page, it's a lot less, I guess you could say, people aren't going to really be wanting to read. If I had a couple pages next to each other, side by side, let's say, I had one page that had nothing but content. I had another page that had content maybe a little bit shorter content, but with a clip of a video in it, maybe an image or two, or maybe no images at all because you have the video in there. I'm probably going to read that one because what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the video clip, like, okay, and then I'll read the rest of the article. I actually do that with YouTube a lot. When I look at YouTube videos, I'll watch the video, and then a lot of times some people don't even read the description box. Sometimes I'll read the description box because it gives a little further explanation. And even though video is 10 times more information than you can get from text in a lot shorter amount of time, I have to sometimes read the description or text to kind of fully really understand what's going on. And then combining those two really gives me a full overall understanding of it. So just think of that when you're creating these things. Don't have an unbalanced content mix. Don't have it to where it's just one video and no content at all. Because even though video explains it all in a video, there are people like me who need that little bit of text to kind of really fully understand and grasp the whole idea of it. So remember that. Don't have an unbalanced content mix. So next, of course, what you do want to do, we're going to go back to the do's, is you do want to have mobile-friendly design considerations. Now, simple, easy navigation. A mobile-friendly website contributes to positive user experience by limiting the need to zoom in and really kind of offering easy-to-click links as well. The content layout should be optimized for mobile use and have a really kind of an intuitive navigation, meaning it's always easy for users to follow around. The worst thing you can do is have someone that's on a phone. If you think about it this way. So if you have a computer screen or a laptop in front of you, okay, that's considered like a landscape format, right? Well, the phones themselves are considered portrait format. And as far as that goes, if you think about your website right now, just imagine without it shrinking or anything, okay, let's say it's not mobile responsive, but without it shrinking, let's say you just put your phone up to your screen, and you'll notice obviously how the landscape turns sideways into portrait. Well, imagine the content not shifting around. So you then would have to kind of scroll left and right and up and down on your phone because it's a lot smaller size, it's a lot smaller real estate on the screen. Now, of course, the best scenario and the best practice is to really have mobile responsive website designs, because then what happens is as it goes to a smaller device, it conforms its size and it shrinks the content, moves it around, and it kind of shifts it around a little bit, which is great. But again, even with mobile responsive designs and mobile friendly designs, you can have hard to navigate websites, which I've been on a couple times. Not going to name names, but I'm going to anyways. Places like Walmart, Target, sometimes Amazon, I mean, they have an app for that, but a lot of times, sometimes their mobile design isn't really as intuitive. There's so many. If anyone's been on Amazon.com, you could easily, get lost on there, obviously, but there's so many links that you can, like categories, and you can sell cars on Amazon. You can sell anything on Amazon. So it gets very convoluted. It's very hard to navigate sometimes. So you want to make sure that you have simple and easy navigation, because if someone's getting lost, and again, like I mentioned, if they're on their phone, that probably means that they're already on the go. They're not necessarily sitting down in a perfect setting on a laptop or a desktop. And so you want to make sure that it's at least easily navigatable, I guess you could say, accessible in general for everyone, so that they can get to what they need to get to. And if you have a direction that you want them to go in, you need to kind of corral them in that direction as well. Next, of course, content blocks. Section content using modules or even blocks to better isolate what information moves to the top of the screen when it moves into that responsive mode. As you can see in this kind of small description, these little blocks or these boxes in this little icon next to the content block section here, you'll see it kind of showing how it would shift around a little bit, these little module blocks or whatnot. That's easy for design, when it goes into responsive mode, to shift around so that it's easily accessible. But again, you want to make sure you put specific things in those blocks that are going to be important, whether it's request an appointment, whether a quick link to your video gallery, or a quick link to different service pages that you have or whatnot. You want to make sure that those are there so that once it does move around, that they have access to it no matter what responsive mode it's in. Of course, next would be click to call. You want a good, clear click to call option there as well. 81% or so of lead conversions happen within 5 hours of a mobile search query. So click to call functionality makes it simple for mobile users to click a phone number on your website. So what they do is they see a phone number, they click on the number on the website, and it automatically calls the business, rather than filling out a contact form or attempt to memorize the number, which I've done and I know all of us have done in the past, or even write it down or switch to a keypad in order to place the call. That's the worst thing you can do, is have it to where they don't have click-to-call function. A lot of times browsers automatically add that for you. You just have the number in there and it will do it. But there's also ways that you can do it on the back end, HTML or scripting, so that when someone sees the number, it clicks on it. Or even if it's a button that doesn't have the number like this, it'll just say call today. You click on it and then it opens up your phone's phone app, or the dialer, I guess you could say, and it already inputs automatically the phone number in there. So they can just click on it and then it hit send and then dial out. The worst thing you can do, I mean, if anyone just really sits back and steps back, I like to do this all the time, whether it's emails or anything that we do here at iMatrix. Sit back and just really kind of think of the flow of the actions that people take when they're doing these actions, when they're doing these steps. They have their mobile device. They're on your website. They see a phone number. What do? Okay, scenario one, they do the old school method. They try to memorize the phone number, or they write it down somewhere. Okay, scenario two, let's say they just have the click to call or whatnot, right? And they click to call on it, or click on the button or the phone number, goes over to their phone dialer or whatnot, and it's ready to call. Out of those two, okay, obviously the second one's a lot easier. Now the reason being is because if you didn't have a click to call action, what are they going to have to do? They have to go either write it down or memorize it, switch over, exit out of the website, go to their phone dialer, open it up, and there's all these different steps that happen to where they've probably done 5 or 6 different steps before they even get to the dialer on their phone to even call you, as opposed to just clicking that button and then hitting send. So you kind of think of, you know, your consumer, your prospective client, what is their process when they're actually doing these actions? It actually makes a big difference, and it helps to kind of give you a direction in what you need to do to make these things a little bit easier if you're really not sure how to make things even more easier than they already are on your website. So just think of kind of the flow and what they would do, and even try and see some testing if you want to have people that are unbiased, that aren't in your practice, that don't work for your practice. Maybe, again, friends, family, just say, hey, go ahead and try to find this information on the website. Tell me if you find it. Or, hey, you know, let me know how you can do this on my website. And kind of just do some simple user testing. It actually helps out a lot. You know, it really kind of gives you an open eye on really how other people are using your website. And of course, analytics is a must-have. I mean, it tells you everything as far as a heat map, where people are clicking and where people are going, what pages people are looking at through the flows and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of find that out. But again, click to call is very, very important. And of course, this ties into that as well, with just clear calls to action. You want to make sure that a call to action, okay, for example, this one says sign up. Let's see, sign up for an appointment, or request an appointment today. Receive 50% off of a consultation. Anything in general, a call to action is really just that, a call to action, something you want them to do. You want them to sign up. You want them to fill out a form to request an appointment with you. You want them to stop into the office. You want them to call you, whatever it may be. That is a call to action. The click the call button up here, call today, that's a call to action. So you want to make sure it's clear and that they understand exactly what they're looking for and what they're going to do. It'll make a world difference on that as well. And of course, the don'ts. So separate mobile website. A lot of people are wondering, hey, you know, I don't have a mobile responsive design. You know, should I just have another website with a different URL? Why? It doesn't really make sense. I get it. From back in the day, it kind of worked. That's kind of how it had to be. Nowadays, it's really kind of almost not needed. The mobile responsive websites are really kind of just here now. I mean, it's really hard to find a place that, you know, for a brand new website doesn't have a mobile responsive site. It's one of those things where it's a big Google algorithm that they had. They called it Mobile Get-In. I mean, that name alone should tell you why it's important. They actually started penalizing websites that didn't have a mobile responsive design. Having a separate mobile website, like a little micro site or whatnot, is not necessarily really that great. And again, as of April 21st of 2015, I believe it was last year, Mobile Get-In had a lot of play into why people had to switch over to mobile responsive when they didn't have it. Now, if it's something that you're not too sure on, if you have mobile responsive design, give us a call. We can actually go through your website and give you an audit on it. If you are a current client of iMatrix, you will have a mobile responsive site, so that's not a problem. But if you don't and you aren't too sure, let us know. We can actually take you through a little tour of your website and just kind of see if it's responsive or not. It's actually really easy if you want to just check it on your own. Check it on your mobile phone. It'll be easy. It'll actually kind of respond and look a little different than the way it looks on your PC or on your Mac. You could easily, even if you're on a laptop right now or a desktop, you could just open up a browser to your website, make it full screen, of course, but then if you want, you can grab one of the corners and basically just drag it so that it shrinks the window, and you'll see really quick if the content and if the modules and the design starts to conforming and starts to shift and look different and shrink into like a mobile size. If it doesn't, then you don't have a mobile responsive design. There's mobile responsive and then mobile friendly. Mobile responsive is when it completely responds no matter what size all the way down to a certain point, which is usually the smallest, which is like a mobile phone. Mobile friendly, however, normally is one of those where it's just got a couple sizes, okay, usually like maybe 2 or 3, where you shrink it down, but then instead of it kind of slowly shifting right before your eyes and the modules moving or whatnot, it goes from one large size and then you start shrinking it and then and it switches to another size and then boom, it switches to the last size if it's mobile. That's kind of mobile friendly more so. Now the only problem with mobile friendly, it's okay. I mean, it's a start, it's good, but the only bad part about it is that there's so many different sizes of devices out there that you might still have a larger size than the device that the person's using, even if it does shrink down to the second or third smallest size or whatnot. So it's difficult at that point. That's why mobile responsive is better, because it just responds to whatever size it is. So you don't have to really worry about that. And overall, it looks better. It's better on a tablet. It's better on a mobile phone as well. Another thing is don't make mobile an afterthought. Again, like I mentioned, when you are, don't forget about designing your website primarily for desktop viewing. With mobile as an afterthought, it should actually be completely opposite. I'd say right now statistics show that more people are using mobile phones and tablets and mobile devices a lot more than desktops. I mean, I have a desktop at home. I actually just recently upgraded to a laptop just for the mobility. A lot of people, do have desktops at home. A laptop is still considered, in most sizes, I guess you could say, a desktop size as far as screen goes. A lot of them are 1080, 1920 by 1080 or whatnot in the screen size, 16 by 9 on the ratio or whatnot. So, it doesn't kind of matter when it comes to that point. But again, a lot of laptops, depending on if it's 13-inch or 17-inch or wherever it may be, it could still be considered mobile in that aspect. But regardless of that, there's tablets, there's phones, there's phablets. If people don't know what that is, it's like a phone tablet, like the Galaxy Note, or I believe even the iPhone 6 Plus or whatever, the big one. So again, it's one of those things where you just have to keep that not as an afterthought, keep it as your main focus. Mobile is really kind of the way to go now, so you want to make sure you cater to that. And of course, contact us online. While the tendency for people to click the call from their mobile devices is really high, we can't forget that mobile devices are also set up to quickly send out email or submit electronic forms. So just because it's mobile, or if it is mobile responsive, don't forget about the fact that you have other ways that people can contact you. It doesn't have to just be via phone. It doesn't have to be just via click to call. They can click to email. It's the same function. They just click on it and it opens up your email app. Click to call on a phone number link, it opens up your phone dialer. So it's really simple, and it's just utilizing the features you already have on your phone to most benefit your website online. Filling out forms as well, those can be easily done. I do that all the time, on my phone. I actually sometimes prefer to do that on my phone as opposed to a desktop. It's just easier to use via a phone or a mobile device. But again, don't forget about those pieces, because you don't want to have it to where there's just a ton of phone numbers all over your website just for the fact that people might be clicking on it to call you. You want to just have those things easily accessible and ready, as well as the email and other contact options, I guess you can say. So that does it for today's webinar. Hopefully that was some great information. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type it through. I do see some questions popping through. If you have any questions about your specific website in general, if you aren't sure if it's mobile, if you aren't sure if your content is in the right direction, if you don't really know what to write in regards to content, give us a call. We'll help you out. It's an absolute free website evaluation. We're not going to try to sell you on anything just to give you that website evaluation. We do have some exclusive attendee offers. If you give us a call, we'll let you know. But at the same time, I do want to say thanks for everyone that did attend. Feel free to let those questions come through. And again, stay tuned for our next webinar. We do have webinars every single month, usually multiple times a month, about different topics on how to help your online presence, your overall marketing strategies for your business, and in general how to help boost your ranking to get you on top of Google. So again, my name is Mike Garcia. Thanks for attending, and I will go through some of these questions. Okay, so how do you create SEO and become more searchable or relevant from videos on YouTube? So videos on YouTube are really, really important. Now, Google actually will recognize a couple little things. Now, SEO in general, it's one of those topics that a lot of people think, oh, I can just do steps 1 through 5 and I'm covered. SEO, I always picture it as a tree, okay? A tree that has multiple branches, right? And if you kind of, I guess, flip the tree upside down, because I would really consider the trunk itself of the tree to be kind of the first page of Google, Google's algorithm, just straight to Google, right? So let's say all these little branches that branch into this main trunk are really kind of SEO factors. I would say as far as YouTube goes, it falls into that place as well when it comes to SEO. It can be anything in general from your actual title of the video itself when you upload it, so the name of the video, to do a couple things. One, to be relevant when people pull it up in the search results page, but two, also to help entice people to click on it. Now, some people might call that clickbait, where you see something that's like, oh my gosh, check out this video, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to check out that video, and you click on it, and it's nothing like what you thought it was going to be. That's obviously bad. That's not good. Do not do that. But what you want to do is you want to make it to where it's relevant, to where, again, like I mentioned, the 5 tips or the, 5 easy stretches in 10 minutes or something like that, where people are actually going to be looking for it. Now, again, I'm going to go back to the veterinary side of it, where if it's how to clean your pet's teeth, how to administer medicine to your pet, things like those are actually questions that people will type in. So just think of questions and things that people will type in to search for certain things in regards to your industry. That will also help with the SEO part of it, because your title and everything else, your description as well is going to be important. Having enough information, even bullet points of specific topics of that video in there, having a link from to your website, I should say, or if you're talking about a specific service, a link to that service page in the description box as well, to help people so that they can click on it and then be taken to your website to help get those search views. There's a lot of different things you can do in that regard. They do have tags in there as well. And then, of course, if you are talking in the video, you can even upload a transcript, which will also help SEO-wise, so that people can actually, the content itself of what you're saying will actually kind of help to be indexed. So there's a lot of different ways that you can actually have it be relevant on YouTube, so that way that when someone searches for you through Google, it'll have the option of pulling up your website and or the option of also pulling up your video for that same topic. So hopefully that answers your question there. So is it true that your phone number and address have to be exact? Here's the next question, sorry. Is it true your phone number and address have to appear exactly the same way across your website, Google Plus page, etc.? If on the website you had your address as 123 City Road, but on your Google Plus page you have 123 City Road. So they have road spelled out R-O-A-D or road R-D. That Google would not consider those the same. That is absolutely correct. And I know it sounds tedious, and I know it's very annoying, but that's absolutely correct. And a lot of times people have difficulty with this, because when they first come to us, let's just say at iMatrix, let's say they had other companies that they went through, or maybe they tried to do marketing themselves, and they started going on Angie's List, and they started going on City Search, and Yelp, and Google Plus, all these different things. They started inputting all their information, but they didn't really have a strategy, and they just kind of remember, oh, like in this instance, 123 City Road, R-O-A-D, or 123 City Road, R-D, period, or 123 City Road East, oops, because I forgot the East, or if it's East 123. I mean, people think, oh, it's the same thing. People figure it out. No, you have to remember these are robots that are really kind of reading your information line by line, binary code. I mean, it has to be exactly how you would input it. So keep that in mind if you are going around and you're adding your profile or creating profiles and across all these different review sites and directory sites. Make sure that you maybe have a document, maybe a Google Sheet that has all the relevant online passwords and user information, profile information that you have. I mean, it's very important that you create something like this. We actually create these master packets, is what we call them here, for each of our clients, to where we have all that information to make sure that we don't forget about the info, to make sure that we know if there's a secret question that's hidden in there, if we forget our password, whatever it may be, that we have that all across the board, and we know exactly what we inputted in the last directory a month ago, or maybe it's been 6 months and I don't remember what I put on Google Plus, so I'm going to put this here. Google does look at that, and the reason it's so important because they don't know the difference between ROAD and RD. I'm sure they do, but they play stupid on it. And they're going to consider that as a completely different entity. So I've seen, let's say, chiropractors, for instance. Okay, they put their first name and the last name. Let's say their business name is their name, right? I'm just going to put, Dr. Mike Garcia. But then my next one I put Dr. Mike Garcia DC. And then the next one I put Dr. Mike Garcia D.C. I mean, it's like it actually considers those separate profiles. So you do have to make sure it's all consistent across the board, and it also makes sense to have it consistent on the website, even though it doesn't necessarily work the same way as the directories would. It's very important to do that. Your profiles, whatever it may be, it all should be consistent. Okay. So it looks like that's it for the questions. Again, if you have any other further questions, feel free to give us a call, 1-800-IMATRIX or 800-462-8749. Again, I appreciate everyone taking the time to check out this webinar. It is very important on your content strategy to make sure you have some kind of plan put forth, and it makes it so much easier for you. And of course, if you have questions, let us know, and I will see you guys in the next webinar. Thanks.